All right, we are back. We are live. Welcome back to Beyond the Spread. I know the artwork doesn't say that, but this is Beyond the Spread. We're with it. We're here. We're ready to go. We got some things to talk about. Not a full slate of stuff to talk about. We got enough headlines to talk about. I have one college story, some NFL stuff, and the NBA is in full swing. College basketball is here. We have a lot of games going on. Just off the top of my head, haven't seen it in a week, but off the top of my head, I saw James Madison beat Michigan State. It's college basketball. I love betting on college basketball. I don't know enough about college basketball. That's why I'm going to have my buddy on here in like a week or two, and we're going to talk some hoops and all that kind of stuff. Sports are in full swing, no doubt about it. We love it. We love seeing it. We love watching games at night. We got some football games on last night. Headlines. First one right off the bat is Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M. He got a $77 million buyout. The guy is a good coach. I like Jimbo Fisher. A&M is just one of those schools that expects, to be in the playoff. They're just not that good though. They're never going to be above a 10-win team maybe. They're always going to have a couple losses throughout the year. 9 on average, I think. But I read the stat. It was like he's getting $19 million right off the bat, and then over the next 7 or 8 years, he's getting $7 million each year. Each year, he's getting $7 million. So it is absolutely astonishing to me that if you're a good head football coach in college and you go sign to one of these big schools and you don't produce, you're gonna be fine because you're gonna get paid. You are absolutely gonna get paid. He's getting $77 million not to coach football over the next 7 to 8 years or something like that. Maybe it was even 6 years. He's getting $7 million a year to just hang out and watch some football. He might go on to a network job. I don't know if that's really up his alley, but he could easily go do that and just talk some ball. If Urban Meyer can do it, Jimbo Fisher can do it. But yeah, that was crazy. Again, Texas A&M kind of in disarray, haven't really been relevant for the last 2-3 years, I would say. But yeah, that was crazy. NFL news. Aaron Rodgers is looking to return in the middle of December. Now the Jets are 3-5, 4-5, I think, 4 and something, 4-4. I don't know. Let's see what their record is. I'm not a fan of this. But here's what I think Aaron Rodgers is thinking. I don't know the guy. Don't know. I don't want to. Whatever. ESPN Bet also launched, which I think is kind of cool. But Jets play the Bills this week. We'll get to the picks and a little bit of previews between the games. But the Jets are 4-5. 4-5. They need to win at least 4 or 5 more games to even kind of be in the playoff conversation, or in the wild card, or in the hunt, something like that. I think Aaron Rodgers is coming back just kind of to prove that he is better than science. That his body is a temple. Your body is a wonder. His body is a temple, and he treats it like that. So when his Achilles tears, he is gonna try to prove everyone wrong. Like, hey, modern medicine, all this kind of shit. Like I did. I don't know, non-Western, Eastern medicine. I don't know his regimen. Obviously he got surgery and all that kind of stuff, but I think that's what he's going to try to do. I think he is going to try to play as much as the Jets. Obviously, if you're a Jets fan, you want him to play. Maybe you want him to play just to kind of give you a better shot, because I think the Zach Wilson experiment is, officially over. You might keep him around if Aaron plays a couple more years. Just has he's a name and people know him, all that kind of stuff, and he knows the offense. But the Zach Wilson experiment is over. It's dead in the water. It's Robert Saleh, I respect him for having his back, but the moment Aaron is actually 90-95% healthy, he's going to try to come back and play. I don't think it's a good move. I would say fuck it and just go. Wait till next year. Could you come back and play and make a deep playoff run? Maybe, but you have to get back into football shape, back into game shape, which I think he can because he's a quarterback. But I mean, but the Jets have to win three or four more games for him to even come in and maybe play the week 17, week 18 kind of thing. I don't like it. I longevity over rushing. I mean, he's not even rushing back, but he's aiming for mid-December return. It's absolutely nuts. It is absolutely nuts. I commend the guy for being, I don't even know, for being a fucking, treating your body like a temple. Your body is a wonderland. Play some John Mayer. Bills fire offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey after they lost to the Broncos. That was a huge win for us. But, yeah, the Bills fire offensive coordinator. Just to recap the game a little bit, Broncos were constantly in it. I knew they were going to cover. I was talking to some people. Someone was like, no, the Bills are going to win by 20. I'm like, no, Broncos are going to cover, but they're probably going to lose. Hand up. I thought they were going to lose, yes. I knew they were going to cover. The Bills are not good. That defense is banged up. Josh Allen had 2 or 3 interceptions. One of them wasn't his fault. There was a tip on there, but I mean, then James Cook got stripped on the first play. He had that crazy. Justin Simmons comes from behind, strips it, and the ball bounces, and he's running with the ball and he catches it. That was crazy for James Cook. But the Broncos ended up winning on a crazy 2 plays. If you didn't watch it, the Broncos are running out in the field to kick a field goal. We missed the kick. Bills fans think they won. The Bills had 12 people on the field. And then Broncos get another chance. 36-yard chip shot. Drill it. We win the game. The Bills are broken. They need to take care of the ball. Stephon Diggs reportedly posted something on his Instagram. It was like, at halftime, he's like, get me the ball more. And I don't know who responded, but the quote was, put on a Broncos jersey then. If it was Josh, that's fucking hilarious. If it was a coach, I still think it's hilarious. But the Broncos, I mean, Russell Wilson is playing good football. Is he playing exceptional football? No. Is he doing what needs to be done? Absolutely. I like winning. Winning solves everything. A couple weeks ago, I was like, I don't care to win anymore. I'm done with the experiment. I'm done with Russell Wilson. Let's go get a quarterback. Now, I still think we could go draft a quarterback. We'd have to give up a lot of pieces for, a Drake May or maybe a Caleb Williams, even though I think Caleb's going to end up going to either Chicago or Arizona at this point. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the Broncos with the picks, but I mean, they had a good win. It was a good win. It was nice to see them win. It was nice to get one, that meme. It's just nice to win one. But yeah. Next one. This came up today. Deshaun Watson is undergoing season-ending surgery on a broken bone in throwing shoulder. The Browns were starting to turn it around, too. The defense of the Browns is, I think it's either ranked 1 or 2 in the NFL, so they're really good. And Deshaun just needs to play good football. He needs to play Russell Wilson football. He needs to, dink and dump, have a decent run game, and just not turn the ball over. And then win the majority of these games. They beat the Ravens this week on a crazy game. I mean, Lamar throws a pick. Now, it was tipped or hit off someone's helmet. But then the cornerback just comes out of the middle of nowhere, catches it, and now they're only down 7. They get the ball back, they go score, and then it's just there. Then they end up winning the game. So it really sucks because the Browns were starting to look really good. They were starting to look really good. Was I in love with them? No. Did I think they could win the Super Bowl? No. Could they make a good playoff run? Could they beat a couple teams in the playoffs? Yeah, I think so. I really think so. So it really sucks. I mean, Deshaun, they still could do it with PJ Walker, honestly. At this point in the season, which one's better? I mean, Deshaun, I think, is a little better. But, I mean, PJ Walker could step in there, and, I mean, they might win some games still. Bill Belichick news. So, Dan Orlovsky went on the Pat McAfee show, and he dropped some crazy bomb. I mean, it's been floating around there for the last couple of weeks. But he said that Bill Belichick will take over as a head coach or a GM for a different NFL team next year. Is it shocking? A little bit, because Bill Belichick's been there for, 20 plus years at this point. I think it's I think it is at that time where it's like, all right, Bill, let's move on. Let's restart the franchise. You had it, you had Tom. You had Tom. You 6 Super Bowls, you can never take him away. Flags fly forever, right? Banners fly forever. It's just gonna be weird to see Bill Belichick in something other than a Patriots uniform. There's rumors about, maybe Washington. I don't know if Chicago's in the mix, but I mean Panthers would be a good option. Arizona might be a good option. Does he want to stay in the AFC? Does he want to go to NFC? It'd be interesting. I think him as a GM. I don't know because he drafted Mac Jones. So let's just say that. He drafted Mac Jones. And Mac Jones needs to, just get out of there. Mac Jones needs to get out of there and just become a backup the rest of his career, which he could do. But it'll be different. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. There was a rumor going around that he might, because the Patriots have a bye week this week. Bill Belichick might be let go within this week. I don't think so. I think they're going to wait till the end of the year, let him finish it out, all that kind of stuff. I mean, he's a legend in the Patriots building. He's a legend in Boston. He's a NFL legend in general. He might be the greatest coach ever. I would say so. But yeah, that's really all the NFL news. We got the NBA going on. First headline that we got is Zach LaVine and the Bulls have, quote unquote, increased openness to explore a trade. I don't know what the value of Zach LaVine is because he's not, in my opinion, he's not a number one option. He's not a number one option. Is he a good number two? Yeah. Philly? Does he go to Philly? I don't know. Philly could make a run at Zach LaVine. They might have to give up some stuff, but I don't know. Zach LaVine. I still think Aaron Gordon got robbed of the 2016 dunk champion. Was it 2016, that crazy one? I think Aaron Gordon had a much better showing on that dunk champion. That's what I think of Zach LaVine. I think when he was on the Timberwolves, Aaron Gordon was still on the Magic, that dunk off. So I thought Aaron Gordon should have won that, honestly. I know this is a little bit of a sidetrack, but I want to know what the value of Zach LaVine is. I haven't really dug deep into it, but exploring a trade option. I mean, that Chicago team is young. Billy Donovan, good coach. You got DeMar DeRozan there still. DeMar's either chasing a bag or chasing a ring. I can't really decide yet because he's a bucket still. I would love to have DeMar. And then this is last night's news. I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Draymond choked out Rudy Gobert. So if you didn't see the clip, Timberwolves shoot the ball. Someone shot a ball. Clay is like looking for the rebound. And he puts his hand on Daniels or McDaniel. I think it's Daniels. He puts his hand on him, on his jersey, and grabs it just to kind of force him out. And Daniels smacks his hand. And as they're going down the court, they keep, bumping into each other. And then they just start throwing each other. Daniels rips Clay's jersey. Rudy Gobert runs in and starts pushing people. Draymond out from the clouds, because you just see the clip of just like the camera just being on Rudy Gobert and like this scuffle. Draymond jumps and like midair wraps Rudy Gobert around in a chokehold. He doesn't choke him, but he like pulls him back. It was wild. Clay, Daniels, Gobert all got ejected from the game. So that was crazy to watch. And then like 2 minutes later, things get chippy in the Lakers-Grizzly game. Anthony Davis gets a bucket. The first camera angle that came out on Twitter, Anthony Davis looked to be in the wrong. He just bumped him. They were they had their arms were tied up, and AD just pushes him over. The other camera angle, the Grizzlies guy, he gets the ball and then shoulder checks Anthony Davis, and I was like, oh my gosh! So Anthony Davis was defending himself. Good for AD. He shoves him. Did he flop a little bit? Yeah. But then things get chippy in there. So it was a crazy 15, 20 minutes of just watching these clips on Twitter because my entire feed was just these, sports pages that I follow. And it's like, oh my gosh, chippiness. But yeah, that was cool. Lakers ended up winning. No Ja. Ja tweeted a smiley face, and then Twitter just erupts with, Ja, chill. Like, that Instagram live button is getting hot in his hand. And then what else we got? I mean, we got the James Harden experience going on in LA. We haven't really talked about it. There were some quotes that came out that James had last night, and post game press conference. Excuse me. They did lose the Nuggets. Nuggets are the best team in the NBA. Still, Jokic is the best player in the world. We'll talk about it a little bit here in a second. But the James Harden experience. I mean, we got Kawhi, we got PG, we got Russell Westbrook, who can play off the ball. Kawhi can play off the ball. Paul George was going crazy last night. I think he was close to 40 last night. He had 30 plus. James Harden doesn't look 100%. He came out and said, let me just get back into, playing shape and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. What do you do with Russell? What do you do with Russell Westbrook? Russell can't really shoot. He's a primary ball handler. I think James should turn into... Look, it's James Harden. He's a great scorer. Great scorer. But when you have Paul George and Kawhi who can do anything on the court, James Harden can't... He's a good pick and roll guy. But, Russell Westbrook is a freak athlete. Kawhi gets in the post. He can call for it. PG can do it all. James Harden is pick and roll and a step back kind of guy. If it's a pick and roll is going, he's going to float it, or he's going to throw an oop or feed it to his big, right? That's the read. Or he's going to step back. That's his only, 2 moves. That's his only 2 moves. I honestly think it's not going to end well. Obviously the Clippers players are just let us figure it out. When we figure it out, it's going to be scary. Which if they do figure it out, it will be scary. But all of them on the court at the same time, I just don't think it's going to work because there's only one ball. There's only one ball to go around. That's why the Nuggets are so good, because they move the ball. They move the ball with Jokic, best player in the world. I just don't think the James Harden experience is going to work out. It's going to turn into a thing like Brooklyn. I don't know who's going to force their way out. I think I don't want to say Kawhi because Kawhi is the face of that franchise right now. You got Paul George. They know how to play with each other. Westbrook, I think he can plug and play. James Harden, I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch because he is a very dominant ball handler. Very dominant ball handler. Nuggets, though. They won last night. It was a close game towards the end. They ended up pulling away. Or not pulling away. They ended up winning. They won by 4 or 5. I was watching the end of it. Also... the teams, the Lakers did this, the Clippers did this. They don't shake the Nuggets' hands. They don't shake Jokic's hand after they get their ass whooped by the Nuggets. They don't shake their hand. I don't care. I just think it's petty, and I love it because Jokic is just whatever. I don't care if to shake your hands either. Saves me time. Let me get back to the locker room real quick. It is just petty, and I love it, and I just love it. It just brings me so much joy because Jokic is fuck you too. That's what it is. He's whatever. Nuggets are the best team in the NBA. Again, we got college basketball coming up. I'm going to have my buddy on probably next week or the week after. It'll probably be in 2 weeks because I'm in Georgia next week. But one other thing that I just need to get off my chest. I made 2 parlays this weekend, college football. We're going to get into some picks. I'll tell my record, but I made 2 parlays. I had a little profit boost, so I was like, all right, let's make a parlay. I forgot the teams, but UNC at Duke. I was at the bar with some friends. I kept on checking Sports Center, hey, is UNC going to cover? Is UNC going to cover? At one point, it looked like they were. Duke didn't have their starting quarterback. I guess that Duke defense is legit, and that backup quarterback is legit. UNC isn't that good anymore. They had a great rise for the first 6-7 wins, and now they're just starting to decline very quickly. It was 10 to win $300. I needed UNC to win. And they didn't cover. I needed them to cover. It was a lot to ask. I know it went a double overtime, and I was depressed. When I saw it was the fourth quarter, and they went down. I was pissed. The other one was Kansas versus Texas Tech. Kansas at home, 4-point favorite. I just need them to win. Straight up, no cover. I need them to win. They ended up losing. It got to 13-13. I'm like, oh, they might have a chance. Nope. The parlays. I love them. I love making them. Sometimes I get wild with them. Sure. Do I lose money more than I win money? Absolutely. But when you win a parlay, there is no better feeling in the world. No better feeling in the world. Maybe a couple things. Pause. But it is one of those sensational feelings when you're gambling, sports betting, anything. When you win, it is great. And if you win a parlay, you make one. I'm seeing parlays on Twitter and Instagram of 25 leg parlays for like $2 to win 30 grand. And I'm like, dude, how are you making these? Good for you guys, because I don't get it. And it pisses me off. I need a team to win, just straight up. And I can't get that. I'll hit everything else. 5-6 leg parlays. I need one other one. I am basically the last few parlays that I made, I've needed one thing. And it just never happens. Just never happens. And you start to overthink it when you're making the parlays. You're like, I've been here before. I know what to do. And then you still hit the press send. Whatever. That's why we ride. That's why we make parlays. That's why we bet. That's why we do beyond the spread, right? That's why we're here. We're here to win money. Now, in college football last week, I went 4-7. Not my best week. But, overall year, I think we're about even. NFL went 7-6. 7-6. Not bad. Because, we've been up and down with NFL. NFL is crazy to bet. It is any given Sunday, truly, a game of inches, all this kind of shit. College, it's like, this team's going to win by 15, but they end up winning by 14, which is just the worst thing in the world. We got the games here. We're going to talk college first. We have some good games. Not the best slate. Next week's going to be crazy. But, we got to keep grinding. We got to keep going. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is it 8? 7 games we're going to talk about. Sorry, I don't know how to count. 7 college football games, and we're going to talk some NFL. Again, 4-7 last week in college. 7-6 in the NFL. First game on the slate. We're going to talk about it. Michigan at Maryland. Michigan's -19. Maryland's not a bad football team. We know all the things that are going on with Michigan are now. Jim Harbaugh is suspended for the rest of this regular season. This isn't a look-ahead game for Michigan, in my opinion. I know they got Ohio State last week, but they also didn't throw a forward. The big news was, they beat Penn State last week by 5 or 6 or 7, something like that. Michigan is favored by 19 points. They're at Maryland. Maryland isn't a bad football team. Obviously, they were better in the beginning of the year, but they play a tough schedule. Maryland isn't as good as Penn State, but man, it is hard for me not to take Maryland in this spot. It is so hard for me not to take Maryland in this spot. 2 touchdowns, 2.5 touchdowns. But Michigan is so good, even though it's in Maryland. Kind of a look ahead because you're like, we got to play Ohio State next week. We're gonna play Ohio State next week, and we're just gonna beat the shit out of them. Do they lose here and be like, we're just gonna go into Ohio State and win, and then go to the Big Ten championship and win? But Michigan is so much better. You know what? I'm not even gonna overthink it. Michigan -19. We're gonna go Michigan -19. Not in love with it. I'm not in love with it. But I feel like I have to out of pure principle because Michigan has had much larger spreads this year, and they've covered those. I think it's going to be close in the first quarter into the second, and I think Michigan's going to start to pull away. We'll go Michigan -19. Again, Maryland's not a bad team, but I think Michigan is that much better. I'm glad I talked myself out of the Maryland. This was a weird line to me. I don't know what this is, but Louisville at Miami. Miami's only half a point favorite. So it's a pick 'em. So is something, am I missing something? I mean, is Miami good? I don't think Miami's good. I'm going to take Louisville. Yes. I want to say Louisville, but it's Louisville. Louisville plus the half a point, whatever. I'm going to take Louisville straight up, whatever. Utah at Arizona. Arizona -1. Utah played pretty well last week against Washington. They played pretty well, Arizona's been kind of on a hot streak lately. They've been showing people like, hey, we're kind of back, as a football, college team. Arizona at home, only -1 though. I don't think Arizona. I don't know. This is a toss-up for me in my head. I've been riding with Utah a lot lately. They showed up against Washington last week. They covered last week, even though I did have Washington. I'll take Utah. I'm going to ride with Utah until this is the make or break game, okay? This is a good game for Arizona. This will really show me if Arizona is, kind of good, kind of back all the way at least. I'm going to go Utah. If Arizona wins this, I won't be upset. Because this will be a, hey, trigger in the brain moment, kind of like a Missouri. Utah is good, but they're not as good as they used to be, at least in the beginning of the season. Ups and downs, ebbs and flows, all that kind of stuff. So this is a game that I'm going to be like, okay, if Utah wins this handily, they're still good. If Arizona wins this, stop betting on Utah. That's what I'll say. We got a big SEC game, Georgia at Tennessee. Georgia -10. Tennessee looked really bad last week. Really bad against Missouri. Now, Mizzou is a good school. Mizzou is a good team. But Tennessee's at home, but Georgia's been rolling everyone. And 10 to me is nothing. I look at that as, Georgia is that good. And, they got Brock Bowers back, who looked... How did he come off that surgery so quickly and looks 100% healthy? I don't know. I think I'd be dumb not to take Georgia. I'm going Georgia -10. -10. Kind of a layup in my mind. Not Jaden Milroe, the fucking Tennessee quarterback from Michigan. I can't think of his name. Yeah, I'm just going to take Georgia. I think Tennessee's kind of dead in the water right now. K-State, Kansas State at Kansas. Fuck you, Kansas. Just saying that. You lost me my parlay last week against Tech. Rivalry game. Kansas State -7.5. I'm going to go Kansas. As much as I don't want to. I have to go Kansas. I have to. Rivalry game at home. Kansas State is really good. I think they are good. But Kansas, they just got embarrassed at home. It's a rivalry game. They're going to get up for this game. I think K-State still wins this, but Kansas will show up a little bit. Washington at Oregon State. Oregon State's -2.5. I don't understand this line at all. It's begging me, I think. I really don't know. Oregon State's good, but they're not Washington good. I double-checked this line. When I was writing this down, I was like, wait. Oregon State is favored. I know they're at home and they're good. They're a good team, but against Washington, arguably going to make the playoff. Also, playoff is going to be crazy. There's so many things that could happen. We'll talk about it. Maybe after the end of these picks, we'll talk a little bit about it. But oh my gosh, I think I have to go Washington. Washington +2.5. It's. I don't get it. Did Washington lose someone? Is Penix not playing? What are they doing? And the last game we're just kind of pick Texas at Iowa State. Texas -7.5. Iowa State's a tough team. It's in Iowa. Texas end of the Big 12 run. They go to the SEC next year. The half is scaring me, but Quinn Ewers is back this week. Got to go Texas. Texas -7.5. It'll be a close game. Third quarter, Quinn Ewers will throw a deep ball. Someone will catch it. They'll end up going by 7. Iowa State will have a turnover somewhere in the third, maybe early fourth quarter. Texas goes down and scores. They cover. It's that. That is speaking into existence. That's what's going to happen. The playoff. What did it come out yesterday? Georgia's back at number 1. Here, let's pull it up real quick. NCAA playoff. I don't know if I can find it. Don't want that. Let's just do this. But yeah, the playoff is going to be absolutely chaos. CFP. NCAA. Dead space. Okay, we got Georgia at 1, Ohio State at 2, Michigan at 3, Florida State at 4. So let's just talk about this real quick. Florida State has to win out to have it. Florida State has to win out to be in the CFP. They have to. And I mean handily the next 2 to 3 weeks, they have to handily beat everyone. Not a touchdown game to these lower opponents. They have to handily beat everyone. Because if they don't, and Michigan ends up, not Michigan, Washington ends up winning out and going to the Pac-12 championship, and then they play probably Oregon, more than likely, that's going to be a crazy game. So Florida State, all they have to do is win by 10 points for the next 2 to 3 weeks. That's all they have to do. Michigan, Ohio State play each other next week. This is where it gets crazy. I think if Ohio State wins the rest of the way into the CFP, obviously they're in. If they beat Michigan, I think Michigan, all that outside noise coming in, Jim Harbaugh getting suspended, whatever his name was, the spy for Michigan, I think if Ohio State wins, Michigan bumps to 5, they don't make it. Now, Michigan. If Michigan wins out, if they beat Ohio State, I truly believe in my heart of hearts that Ohio State is out. I think they're done. I really do. I think the Big Ten, you have to be undefeated. You have to be undefeated in the Big Ten going to the CFP, which is a lot of pressure because when you go into the actual college football playoff in beginning of January, there's no room for error. No room for error. If you lose early in the season or even like right now, you might have a small chance. But if you get to the Big Ten championship and you lose, you're out. In my humble opinion. Unless, then we go into other things. If Georgia loses, I think Georgia's in regardless unless they have 2 losses. If they have 2 losses, they're done. They have, I think, a little bit of room just because they're back-to-back champions and they are in the SEC. And they're going to play more than likely Bama in the SEC championship. Bring up another point. Bama. I think if Bama wins out, and one of the Big Ten champs lose, I think Bama jumps almost. I think there's a chance where Bama still makes it. I'm not going to put a lot of weight behind that, but I think there is a chance for Bama to make the CFP. Did they lose to Texas, and is Texas ranked ahead of them right now? Yes. Texas is going to get screwed. They always get screwed, but they're going to get screwed in the long run. And I think Texas might drop another one. I really do. They might lose this week to Iowa State. I know I just took Texas minus 7.5, but there's a chance they lose that game. Just because it's on the road. Quinn Ewers is back. Kind of a little fluttery. Who knows? Texas might lose another one. Washington and Oregon, I think, is the big one. Because right behind them, you got Bama and you got Texas. If Washington wins, you know how hard it is going to be? Because I think the Pac-12 championship's in Vegas. If Washington wins out, they make the playoff. They have to beat Oregon in the Pac-12 championship. If Oregon wins, if Oregon wins the Pac-12 championship, I don't know if they get bumped out behind Florida State. If Florida State wins out, they're in. But they have to win handily. There is just so much chaos right now. That's why college football is the best. I've learned that over the last 2 or 3 years. That I used to be a big NFL guy, but now that I'm seeing the chaosness truly unfold right before my eyes with money on the line and all that kind of shit, it just sucks me in even more. Let's break it down one more time. I think Georgia's in regardless, no matter what. Unless they have 2 losses, I truly think they're in regardless. You can get in with a 1-loss team. Let's just call our shot. All right, we're going Georgia. Fuck. Georgia, Michigan. I don't think Washington. I think in that Pac-12 championship, I think Oregon is going to get in. I think they're going to be pissed off that they lost to Washington. I think they're going to end up winning by like a touchdown. And then it really comes down to 4th team. Who do I think it's going to be? Part of me really wants to say Bama just because if they do win out and if they beat Georgia, they're going to get in. That's the wildness of it all. But I don't think Florida State's going to lose. I think they're going to make the CFP. Bama, Texas, Ohio. I don't think Ohio State's good anyway. I know they have Marvin Harrison Jr. I know they have a decent run game with Henderson. That defense is pretty good, but other than that, once you take away Marvin Harrison Jr., you're going to have to run the ball consistently. And I think that's what's going to happen in next week with the game. I think it's in Michigan. I think Michigan is almost going to double Marvin Harrison Jr., which, try to slow him down. But I think they're going to double him consistently. They're going to try to run the ball. That quarterback is not good enough, and Michigan knows how to run the ball. They can throw the ball. They have good concepts. J.J. McCarthy is in the Heisman running right now. It is pure chaos. I think Florida State gets in if they win out. Georgia, Michigan. It is going to be Oregon, I think. Bama's my dark horse. I actually like Bama a lot this year. I've been betting on them consistently. They're playing some crazy poop team this week, and there's not even a line on the game. It's going to be 20+. I'm thinking I'm going to hammer it regardless. That is CFP talk. It is absolutely chaos. I love it because everyone has their own opinion. When you start talking to people like, oh, who do you think is going to be in the CFP? Everyone has their own opinion. Then we start breaking down the numbers. It's like, oh, if they win or if they lose, it just turns into chaos. Next week is going to be a big, big week. That game between Ohio State and Michigan is going to tell us a lot, and it's going to basically set. I truly think it's going to set the CFP. We're going to have a good idea going into it. Whew, baby, we love it. We absolutely love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Let's talk some NFL. Again, last week we ended up a little bit 500, went 7-6. A lot of game-winning field goals. It's a really good slate this week. A lot of good games. We get an absolute banger of a game on Thursday night. Basically, when this, what's today? Wednesday? This comes out tomorrow. We're going to have Bengals at Ravens. Baltimore is -3.5. Both these teams lost last week. Bengals lost to a good Houston team who, we'll talk about them a little bit. C.J. Stroud is a guy. Excuse me. But the Ravens lost to the Browns. They shouldn't have lost that game. The Bengals and the Bills. I think the Bengals have a better chance of making the playoffs this year than the Bills do. Now, am I crazy for saying that? Maybe a little bit. But I think the Bills are not good right now. I think their offense, they just fired their offensive coordinator. We talked about it. Their defense is in disarray. I know they got, some good pieces still, but it's just not clicking. I think the Ravens win this game. I'm just nervous about it because it's Thursday night. I love Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is a fucking dude. But the Ravens, I think, are just so good right now. And don't get me wrong, Houston is a good team, but the Bengals, if they're climbing right now, that was a huge setback for them. I'm going to take the Ravens. I'm going to take a -3.5 too. It'll be a great game. I don't know what the over-under is. I'm going to guess it's like 46, 48, somewhere around there. It is going to be a great game. I don't feel confident about the Ravens pick because, but their defense is so good. Lamar's been playing really good. They have a good run game now. The Bengals are starting to, they're climbing up again, but you can't lose to Houston. That was a huge game for you. They have to win out to basically have a chance at making the playoffs. So, yeah, that's Thursday night. Morning games on Sunday. We got the Steelers at Cleveland. Cleveland is -1. Kenny Pickett, Steelers going on the road. Cleveland is a good team, but again, they just lost Deshaun Watson. I think P.J. Walker is, maybe half a step back behind Deshaun Watson this year. Steelers have been cooking. They're 6-3. But that Cleveland defense, I still think shows up. I don't feel confident about it. Man, I can't bet on the Steelers because their defense... This is a tough one. You know what? Fuck it. We'll go Steelers. +1. I think obviously they're going to win, but maybe a little money line action. Bears at Lions. Not even second guess this. Justin Fields is playing this week. I read a headline. I was sitting down watching a little TV. Justin Fields is playing this week. I don't think that changes a whole lot, to be honest. Tyson Bagent, good for you, man. You probably got, a deal coming your way as a backup quarterback or at least a practice squad quarterback. You'll be in the league for a little bit. Good for you, man. Lions defense is not good, but the Bears are bad. Simple analysis like that. Lions defense is not good. Justin Fields, does he come back and does he throw 4 touchdowns? Maybe, but I think the Lions at home, right out of the gate, I'm going to take a -9. Do I feel comfortable about it? No, because in all reality, the Lions are probably going to end up winning by 7, but, whatever. Chargers at Packers. Chargers -3. Chargers just had a shootout with the Lions last week. Packers lost to the Steelers. Packers aren't good. Jordan Love, is he the guy? Maybe not. Aaron Jones. I don't know where to go in this game. I think I have to take the Chargers, even though I don't feel comfortable about it, because they're going into Green Bay. It's going to be a little chilly. But you know what? Fuck it. We'll go the Packers. We'll just go the Packers +3. Maybe the Packers just decided to get a little creative. So yeah. Raiders at Dolphins. Raiders going down to Miami. Miami coming off a bye. I think Miami, they had probably a long talk, some meetings going on like, hey, we need to get things back on track. Raiders are a fun team. Antonio Pierce, 2-0 as a head coach. They're a fun team. But I think they're going to be outmatched severely with the Dolphins team. Dolphins, I know it's 13.5. I think they cover. I think they'll be okay. I think they end up truly covering by a smidge, by a field goal. I think they end up covering. Giants, they are so bad. So bad. That sucks for Saquon. Saquon is the only bright piece on that offense. Thibodeau on the edge on defense. The defense, they have some guys. They just got to put it all together. Tommy DeVito, is that his name? The quarterback for the Giants? Do you start running Wildcat throughout the entire day on Sunday for the Giants with Saquon? Let Saquon just drop back, run some read option, dives, trick plays. Commanders are -9.5. I don't love that line. The Commanders are a good football team. They're a fun football team. But the Giants are so bad. That's my only thing that makes me not want to take them. Giants could cover. I mean, you know what? No, they're not. Commanders, I don't love the 9.5, honestly. Giants could mess around and make this a little frisky game, and interdivision, game, that kind of thing. Tommy DeVito, not the guy, but I mean, are the Commanders just traded away their 2 best pass rushers? So it's like, I know they can get off the quarterback a little bit still, but I mean, Sam Howell, I think he's going to be the dude for Washington for a while. Cowboys at Panthers. Dallas -10.5. 10.5. We saw it last week at the Cowboys. They absolutely shit on the Giants. When they play a bad team, they know they're playing a bad team, and they just put it on them. I don't think it's going to be a close game. Dallas -10.5. -10.5. Panthers. Did you see that the Panthers were they started like a rally, like the fans started a rally of like, we want a better football team. We want a better franchise. We don't deserve all this losing. I think Frank Wright is going to be out the minute the season ends. The minute the season ends, Frank Wright is gone. Do you go get Bill Belichick? Maybe. Bryce Young, I'm not selling my stock on Bryce Young yet. I might have bought a little more in CJ Stroud. I know I'm not going to make any money on the CJ Stroud stock, but Bryce Young, we need a big game. But, I mean, you're going against Dallas. Dallas is a A- team to a B+ team right in that weird area where, like, they could make a decent run, but more than likely they're going to end up losing the first or second round of the playoffs. just like they always do. But yeah, Dallas just puts it on bad teams. They put it on bad teams. The 10.5 is disrespectful to Dallas, honestly. The Panthers are decent. I mean, the Panthers are bad. Titans at the Jaguars. Jacksonville -7. Jacksonville needs to get back on track. Titans, Will Levis, D-Hop, Derrick Henry. I just listed a few guys. Titans need some energy, and I think they're going to bring some energy. What do we want to think about the Jags? They got absolute shit on by the 49ers last week. They got stomped. Now, the 49ers are a Super Bowl caliber team, but man, they got smacked last week, and the Titans are a bad team. This is a get-right game for Jacksonville. I think they're going to cover. I think the Titans are going to score 10, maybe 14 points. Jacksonville needs to score 28. They need to score 28 to kind of get a breath of fresh air. You know, this is a tune-up game for them to make a run for the playoffs. They need to win this game. Titans, it's like we're kind of getting ready for next year. Will Levis, is he the guy for the future? I think so. His arm talent is freaking ridiculous. I'm going to go Jacksonville -7. We got the next game, last game in the morning slate. Cardinals at Texans, Texas -5. Kyler Murray is back. They won last week. I was not expecting that. Kyler, he signed that big-ass deal with the Cardinals last year, 2 years ago. Good for Kyler, get paid, all that kind of stuff. But I think they're going to move on from him. I think they're going to really start fresh. But do you get rid of all that cap space with Kyler? I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe they trade back and get a ton of draft picks out of it. They might. Texans, CJ Stroud, he's a guy. He's the dude of the future for Houston. I love his post-game press conference. He was talking about his faith, all that kind of stuff. It was cool to see. I know people maybe not understand that, but it was cool to see, and he's a smart guy. What was the quote that he had? It was, I'm not a good test taker. I'm good at football. Whatever it was. He's here to play football. He's a film junkie from what I've heard. I think the Texans win by 10 at home. Actually, you know what? I'm not ready to put that kind of respect on the Texans yet, but they're going to win this game. They're going to cover this game. 5 is an ugly line. Ugly line. I think it's going to move down to 3. Because the Cardinals could give you some fight. They could give you a little bit of fight in the grand scheme of things. But I think Texans at home. Kyler Murray, second game back, riding high. But I just think that Texans team is good. D'Amico Ryan's head coach of the year for sure, I think. Afternoon games. Bucks at 49ers. I'm not even going to overthink this one. A healthy 49er team is a top 3 team in the NFL. Bucks healthy team might beat the Saints. You know? And we saw it last week. I mean, I don't think Jacksonville's bad, but they got absolutely smacked by a healthy 49ers team. 49ers minus the 11.5. It is maybe the Bucks make it fun for, a half, but I think the 49ers end up pulling away. Jets at Bills. Let's talk Jets real quick. Again, we talked about Aaron Rodgers. He might come back middle of December. That's what he's aiming for. He said something about Thanksgiving. He's going to be throwing. That means nothing to the Jets until he's actually on the field. I am not going to say he's coming back until I literally see him on the field playing in pads. Bills. That Jets defense is good too. This is kind of a I don't know what's going on in the Bills' heads. I don't know what's going on in their heads. You lost to the Jets week 1. It was a Sunday night or a Monday night game. So kind of a little bit of a there is a terrible taste in the Bills' mouth. Usually you say there's a bad taste in the mouth, but when there's a terrible taste, it's been there for a minute. The Jets have had their number week 1. The Bills they rode so high for a while for those, 2 or 3 games, and then now they're coming back down to earth. I think they're going below earth, honestly, whatever that means. But the Bills, they need this game. But the Bills are not good. The Bills are not good. I'm tired of saying the Bills will cover this game. The Bills this, the Bills that. Josh Allen needs to take care of the football. But the Jets defense is good. They're going to continue to be good. They're a good coach defense. They're well disciplined. So with all that being said, I don't think the Bills are good. I know the Broncos just beat them. So that kind of shows you where the Bills are at. But I'm taking the Jets +7. I don't feel good about it just because I think the Bills might just be like, hey, we're still here. We're still the top of the division right now, or we're supposed to be the top of the division right now, and we're going to come out and prove it to you, which makes me a little bit nervous. But Jets cover the 7. I think they cover the 7. I'm nervous about this one. I am nervous about this one. Bills need to win it. They both need to win it. The Bills need to win it just a little bit more because, they're supposed to be deep in the playoffs. They're supposed to be in the Super Bowl contention. So if they want to get things back on track, you cannot drop below 500. You can't drop below 500. Seahawks at Rams. Don't really care about this game if I'm being completely honest with you. Seahawks are -1. It's in LA. Is Matthew Stafford playing? I have no idea if he is. If he is, I'm going to take the Rams. But if he's not, I got to go Seahawks. Don't really care about this game if I'm being totally honest with you. But that's neither here nor there. If Matthew Stafford is playing, I'm changing it. Okay? I'm making a note. If Matthew Stafford's playing, I'm taking the Rams. Matthew Stafford playing, I'm taking the Rams. Dead air. Taking Rams. I gotta write that down because I'm gonna forget about it. I just want that on record because I have no news about it. I have not seen anything about it. Is the thumb still bad? If it's not bad, if he plays even with a okay thumb, I think I'm gonna take the Rams. Don't like the pick because the Seahawks are kind of fun. They're kind of frisky. They might be a playoff team. They really might be a playoff team. And we got Sunday Night Football. Vikings at Broncos. At home. Broncos -2.5. I'm going to let you know. I'm taking the Broncos -2.5. Yes. Is it completely biased? Is Russell Wilson playing good football? He's playing good football. Jeez, hang on. He's playing good football. But he's playing good football. Is he the guy? I don't know. He's at the end of his career. He's playing good football. That locker room is believing in Russell Wilson right now. And I kind of respect it, honestly. I didn't respect him. Cortland Sutton posted something on his Instagram. It's an apology letter for, trashing Russell Wilson. I almost clicked on it and posted it. I was like, that's me, brother. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Hey, I'm sorry. The Vikings. Let's talk a little bit about the Vikings because I'm not taking them lightly. I'm not going to. This is an easy pick for me. It's truly a biased pick. It's not easy. I'm not comfortable with it. But the Vikings, Josh Dobbs coming to Denver, altitude. Look, what Josh Dobbs has done over this entire season. He won that game against Dallas when he was in Arizona. He fought hard for a couple weeks and covered some spreads, and then they started to fall. They really started to fall. But that win last week was very impressive. He knows how to use his legs. He's throwing the ball around. He's not turning the ball over. It's not going to be an easy dub for the Broncos, but I still think they get it done. I think Josh Dobbs needs to come back down to earth. We love the Josh Dobbs story. I love the Josh Dobbs story. I'm not trying to hate on it, but I think the Broncos defense is playing good. I think they're playing good. I think Vance Joseph got his head out of his ass. Thank the Lord. And Russell Wilson's playing good. We're running the ball now. Kind of what Russell Wilson thought he was a gunslinger. He's not. He's a very good clock management, get the ball up and down the field kind of quarterback. He's not a gunslinger. Last year, he thought he was a gunslinger. He's not that guy. He's a play action, throw a couple deep balls, throw some crossers, or dump it down. I know that's the only throws you can make in football, but he's literally that sounds so dumb, but that is who he is. He's a play action guy. Hit the tight end on the crosser. get 5-6 yards. We'll run the ball for 2 yards, get another yard, first down. First down. Same thing over and over again. Is it going to be an ugly game? Yeah, because the Broncos don't know how to play anything other than ugly games. Again, I love the Josh Dobbs story. I think he's dope. He's a smart guy. He was supposed to be an astronaut. So, he's a smart dude. I just don't think the Broncos lose this game at all. I really, really don't. And that's completely biased. I'm telling you my bias right now. It is the Broncos. They're going to cover. I think they might win by a touchdown, honestly. The best game, in my opinion, is Monday night. And I don't think there's... We start with a banger on Thursday night, and we end on a Monday night with an absolute banger of a game. Arguably one of the best, probably the best game of the year. Probably the best game of the year. We got the Eagles going to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are -3. Where do we want to start? Let's start with the Eagles. Jalen Hurts. These two teams are both coming off byes, so we can't really say anything. I know Andy Reid has some crazy record off the bye, but this is a This is a Super Bowl matchup. I lost the train of thought. What is it called when you play Super Bowl rematch? Rematch. That's the word I'm looking for, is rematch. Super Bowl rematch. Eagles are playing really good. The Chiefs are playing really good. Jalen Hurts, that knee, I hope that knee is 100% fine. They don't have Dallas Goedert, which kind of sucks, but they have Devontae Smith still. So they got A.J. Brown. They know how to run the ball. DeAndre Swift. I mean, the Chiefs are really good. Here's my only worry. We'll talk about the Chiefs in a second. Here's my only worry. We see the Eagles when they get up, when they're up 10, or a two touchdown game, late in the third quarter, early into the fourth, they just try to run the ball down the field. And they get to about the 45, and they get to a third and long, and they need to throw the ball. And usually what happens is Jalen Hurts will, hit his tight end or his running back for, 4 or 5 yards. And they got to punt it. Usually that team can drive the ball and get some points, and then it's basically rinse and repeat. 2 weeks ago, that happened to the Eagles. The Eagles almost lost that game in my mind. It was against Dallas. They almost lost that game. They started to run the ball, and they were like, oh, Dallas, we're going to they kind of left the door open for Dallas. Dallas almost won that game. Now, if you do that again with the Chiefs will win. The Chiefs will win because you have Patty Mahomes versus Dak Prescott. I'll take Patty Mahomes in a 2-minute drill any day of the week. So, with that being said, let's talk about the Chiefs. I was going to give my pick, but let's talk about the Chiefs real quick. The Chiefs, good football team. Defense, one of the best defenses in the league. It is going to show, I think, this week. I'm going to take the Eagles. I'm taking the Eagles. I think it's going to show this week that, that defense is good, and that defense is going to carry them for the rest of the season into the playoffs. But I know people are going to try to make, excuses for Travis Kelce and all that kind of shit. They're going to try to blame it on Travis Kelce that he just went to Argentina to see his girl, T Swift. Yeah, shout out T Swift. He went and saw a concert. He was down there for probably 4 or 5 days. So people are going to try to be like, oh, Travis Kelce was down in Argentina. He's not locked in for this game. He's going to have 30 yards, which sucks for me on fantasy. But we're going to see that Eagles defense really show up. We're going to see the lack of receivers on the Chiefs. And look, the Chiefs are never out. The Chiefs are going to be in it until Patty Mahomes retires. But I think it's just a little bit. I think the overall team with the Eagles on the offense side, I know they don't have Dallas Goedert, but the overall offense and the overall defense is better than the Chiefs, who have a good defense and a suspect. I wouldn't say suspect offense. It's not good, but it's not average. Or it's slightly above average. Let's just say that. It's a slightly above average offense. If that makes sense, I don't fucking know. If it doesn't make sense, tell me what the fuck I'm saying then. I'm going to Eagles plus the 3. I think I'm going to take a money line regardless. Yeah. It's the best game. It's a Monday night game. You get home from work. You catch the end of the pregame show, and you go right into it, and it is going to be a great game for 2.5 hours of just two Titans clashing. And I think the Eagles are a little pissed off still from the Super Bowl. They got a bad taste in the mouth. Not a terrible taste, because terrible taste means you suck. Your team sucks. That's kind of what the Bills are right now. They got a terrible taste in their mouth. Eagles got a bad taste in their mouth still from the Super Bowl. Sodgate, whatever you want to call it. Eagles plus a 3. Eagles money line. Maybe A.J. Brown to get a touchdown. I think DeAndre Swift's going to get a touchdown. But we'll figure that out later. That is it. I know there's going to be some more news that comes across the desk within the next 2 days or so. I am going to, just a little scheduling. I go to Georgia next week for Thanksgiving. I leave Tuesday. I am going to try to record a show Monday. If not, I think I'm going to bring all this shit with me to Georgia, record one, maybe have my brother on. We'll talk some games. But other than that, you'll hear from me. But let's have a great weekend. Let's win some games. Let's win some money. I love this shit. Again, my buddy Tyler, 8Ball Bets, if you want to go follow him, 8Ball Bets on Twitter. He's posting pics all the time about college, NFL, NBA, anything in between. That is it. Thank you. Like, subscribe, follow. Bryce Bud. We'll see you next week, brother.